solving some past year questions, okay, and the questions which are expected in the, okay. So in the last two classes, so we have already completed the preparation of alkyl halides starting from alkenes, starting from alkenes and here alkenes. Okay, we have done the preparation of alkyl halides starting from alkenes and starting from alkenes. Yes.
So your voice is not clear.
Okay, so today we are going to start. Okay, we are going to in fact continue with the preparation of alkyl halides. The topic going on was the preparation of alkyl halides. Okay, so today we shall start the preparation of alkyl halides starting from your alcohols. Starting from your alcohols. Okay, how do you prepare alkyl halides starting from alcohols? Fine. Now, we know in alcohols, the functional group is OH. So the general formula of alcohols, I'll write down as ROH. So this is the general formula of alcohols. This is the general formula of alcohols. Okay, now let us see what are the methods. Let us see today what are the reagents, okay, with the help of which alcohol can be transformed into your alkyl halides. So let us see, okay. So number one method of preparation, when alcohols are treated with phosphorus pentachloride. So what is the reagent? The reagent is phosphorus pentachloride. So when alcohols are treated with phosphorus pentachloride, the OH group gets substituted by Cl. The OH groups get substituted by Cl. And what are the other products out here? The other products will be POCl3 plus HCl, and the reaction is already balanced, right? So we need to remember the reactions like this. We need to remember the general reactions like this. Okay, so what is the reaction? Whenever an alcohol is treated with phosphorus pentachloride, the OH group gets substituted by chlorine, and the other products are POCl3 and HCl. So whatever alcohol it might be, for example, if I write down ethyl alcohol, plus PCl5. Okay, if I write down ethyl alcohol and PCl5, yes, what will be the product? So we know the general reaction. So what is the general reaction? Any alcohol, when it is treated with phosphorus pentachloride, what happens? The alcoholic OH group gets substituted by Cl. So here also what happens? The OH group gets substituted by Cl. So we get ethyl chloride plus POCl3 plus HCl. So whatever may be the alcohol, okay, the reaction will be the same. Same means the OH group will get substituted by chlorine out. So if I draw another alcohol, say cyclohexanol, I'll draw cyclohexanol. It's not a phenol, it is a cyclohexanol. Okay, plus again PCl5. So yes, what do we expect again? What do you expect here? Again, the OH group will get substituted by chlorine. Okay, the OH group will get substituted by chlorine. So we get cyclohexyl chloride. Okay, plus the other products will be common. POCl3 plus HCl. So yes, now we know what is the reagent for substituting your OH group with your Cl group. What is the reagent? The reagent is phosphorus pentachloride. So any alcohol, when treated with phosphorus pentachloride, the OH group will get substituted by chlorine. Okay. So now we know how to transform your OH group to your Cl group. So you must be wondering, only alkyl chlorides can be prepared, or whether alkyl bromides or alkyl iodides can also be prepared or not. Okay, but the fact is that your PBr5 and PI5, these two compounds are very unstable and does not exist. They do not exist. Phosphorus pentabromide and phosphorus pentaiodide, they are very unstable and they do not exist. So out of the phosphorus pentahalides, only phosphorus pentachloride reacts with alcohol, not phosphorus pentabromide and phosphorus pentaiodide, because they do not exist. Okay. So remember, if we write down PBr5, that would be wrong because PBr5 does not exist. If I write down PI5, then that would also be wrong because PI5 does not exist. Okay. So out of the phosphorus pentahalides, only phosphorus pentachloride will exist and it will react in this way. Okay. However, alcohols do react with trichlorides like this. Again, it reacts with phosphorus trichloride, PCl3. So again, here the same type of reaction will occur. So you will get RCl, the OH will get substituted by Cl. But here the side products are different. What are the side products? The side products are H3PO3. The side product is H3PO3. Okay, so if you need to balance this, there are 3 chlorine out here, so I'll write down 3. So there are 3 alkyl groups, 3, so the reaction becomes balanced out. Okay, the main product is same, the side product is different. Okay, now in this case, not only phosphorus trichloride, but phosphorus tribromide, PBr3. Okay, although PBr5 does not exist, PBr3 does exist, right? And so what will be the product? Yes, we can easily guess the product now. Here OH will get substituted by Br. So I get R, Br plus H3PO3. Fine. Similarly, alcohols reacts with PI3, phosphorus triiodide. To give you what is the product expected? The expected product is Ri plus H3PO3. So what are the reagents? Okay, for converting your for substituting OH group by halides, one is your PCl5. You have to remember in this way. The other one is your PCl3. The other one is your PBr3. Okay, the other one is your PI3. Now, this PBr3 is again quite unstable as compared to PCl3. So it is prepared in the reaction mixture by treating red phosphorus with bromine. So phosphorus and bromine will react to give you PBr3. So similarly here, PI3 is even more unstable. So it cannot be prepared beforehand. Okay. So since PI3 is very reactive, it cannot be prepared beforehand. It must be prepared as the reaction goes on. So how is PI3 prepared? Again, it is prepared by treating phosphorus with iodine like this. So this is how alcohols can be converted into the respective alkyl halides. So what are the reagents? The reagents which we studied today are number one PCl5, the other one is PCl3, the other one is PBr3, and the other one is here PI3. So what happens out here? In all the cases, the OH group gets substituted by halides. Okay, so you need to remember the specific reagents out here. That's all. So this is how alkyl halides can be prepared from alcohols. This is how alkyl halides can be prepared from alcohols. Okay, so if you are given this type of question now, okay, if you are given this type of questions, how will you convert, say, ethyl alcohol? How will you convert, say, ethyl alcohol to ethyl bromide? Suppose this transformation. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to convert alcohol to alkyl bromide. So what is the reagent? Yes, now we know what is the reagent for substituting OH by Br. The reagent is PBr3. The reagent would be PBr3. Okay, so we have to remember the reagents, that's all, right? So here we don't remember the individual reactions. It is not possible to remember. We remember the general reaction like this. Okay, so these are some of the reagents by which your alcohols can be converted into alkyl halides. Now out of these reactions, there is one reaction which is of importance. Okay, so what is that particular reaction? Now, when alcohols are treated with SOCl2. What is the name of this compound? This compound is known as a thionyl chloride. It is known as a thionyl chloride. So when alcohols are treated with thionyl chloride, we get alkyl chloride plus SO2 plus HCl. So what is the significance of this upwards arrow? Yes, any one of you? What does it suggest? It suggests that the side products are gases. Upward arrow means these are gases. Okay. So what is the importance of these reactions? Yeah, SO2 and HCl being gases, okay, they easily escape the mixture, okay, leaving behind pure alkyl chlorides. Leaving behind pure alkyl chloride. Okay. So here this is a better method for the preparation of alkyl chloride. Why? Because the side products are gases. The upward arrow suggests that these are gases. So being gases, they will easily leave the reaction mixture, leaving behind pure alkyl chlorides like this. And this method of preparation of alkyl chlorides, okay, starting from alcohol and thionyl chloride, this process is known as a Darjan's process. It's known as a Darjan's process. So this process is known as a Darjan's process. Okay. Say if you are given this alcohol, then say suppose you are given this alcohol. Suppose you are given this alcohol, benzyl alcohol, C6H5CH2OH. Okay. So what happens when you treat this with SOCl2? Yes, again the general reaction, we know what is the reaction. Any alcohol treatment with thionyl chloride, the OH group gets substituted by Cl. So here also we just need to replace this OH by Cl. Yes, we need to replace the OH by Cl. And yes, in this reaction, you must mention the side product as well, right? Okay, you must mention the side product as well. So just if the general reaction is known, we can apply to any reaction. Okay, we can apply to any reaction. Okay. So again, you might be thinking, what about SOBr2 and SOI2? Again, out here, these two, it does not exist. It does not exist. It does not exist out here. So today, from alcohols, okay, what are the reagents used to convert alcohols into alkyl halides? So we have studied 3 or 4 reagents. So what are the reagents? One of the reagent is PCl5, the other is PCl3, the other is PBr3, PI3, and ultimately this thionyl chloride. Okay, so remember these general reactions, not the individual reaction. Individual reaction is not possible to remember. So you must remember the general methods of preparation. Okay. So let us move towards other methods of preparation starting from alcohol. So we are not yet done with your alcohols. Okay. So let us see. So now I'll be discussing other methods preparation of alkyl halides starting from again alcohols. Okay, so from alcohols only, okay, by treatment of your halogen acids, the HX. So what are the halogen acids? The halogen acids are usually HCl. One is here HBr and the other is here HR. So these are the halogen acids. So alcohols on reaction with halogen acids gets converted into your alkyl halides. Okay, fine. So number one, by using Lucas reagent. Okay, by using Lucas reagent. So what is this Lucas reagent? Lucas reagent is a mixture of conc HCl and anhydrous zinc chloride. It is a mixture of conc HCl and anhydrous zinc chloride. Okay, so this mixture is known as a Lucas reagent. So this reaction can be used for preparation of alkyl chlorides, and the important part is that the same reaction, it can be used to distinguish. The same reaction, it can be used to distinguish between, okay, the same reaction can be used to distinguish between primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. Fine, it can be used to distinguish between primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. Now let us see. Okay, so first let me start with the primary alcohol, CH3, CH2OH. Okay, this is an ethyl alcohol. On reaction with Lucas reagent, HCl and anhydrous ZnCl2. So again, what will happen out here? This OH will get substituted by chlorine. Plus we get H2O. So we get ethyl chloride as expected. We get ethyl chloride as expected. Okay. Now let me take an example of other alcohols. So I have this. Fine. So this again on treatment with HCl and anhydrous ZnCl2. So again, what will happen out here? The OH will get substituted by Cl. The OH will get substituted by Cl again. Fine. Now ultimately CH3C we have this. Again, these on treatment with HCl and anhydrous ZnCl2. So what will happen again? The OH group okay, it gets substituted. So same reaction is taking place. Only the nature of alcohols are different. In all the cases, the OH is getting substituted by Cl. Now here, you just look at the carbon to which the OH group is attached. So there is an example of 1 degree carbon. So if a OH group is attached to 1 degree carbon, that alcohol is known as a 1 degree alcohol. So this is a 1 degree alcohol. Here the OH group is attached to 2 degree carbon. So this is an example of 2 degree alcohol. Here the OH group is attached to 3 degree carbon. So this is an example of your 3 degree alcohol. This is an example of your 3 degree alcohol. Okay. So alcohols, yes, it can be classified into 1 degree, 2 degree, and 3 degree. So whatever alkyl halides do we get out here? We get 1 degree alkyl halides. Here we get 2 degree alkyl chloride. Here we get 3 degree alkyl chloride. So now all the 3 cases of alcohol will give you the same product. Product the same है, OH group replace, okay, Cl group आ रहा है. But the rates at which these alcohols react are different. The rate at which these alcohols react are different. So these 3 degree alcohols, okay, in case of 3 degree alcohols here, turbidity appears within 5 minutes. That means the reaction of 3 degree alcohols takes place within 5 minutes. The turbidity, during the course of the reaction, the solution becomes turbid. And in case of 3 degree alcohols, the turbidity appears within 5 minutes. Okay. So in case of 2 degree alcohols, the turbidity appears within 5 to 10 minutes. The turbidity appears within 5 to 10 minutes in case of your 2 degree alcohols. And 1 degree alcohols, yes, the turbidity appears after say 15 minutes. So although the nature of reaction is same, okay, the reactivity of these alcohols are different. So which alcohol is most reactive towards Lucas reagent out of the three alcohols? The tertiary alcohol, the 3-degree alcohols are most reactive. They react within 5 minutes, followed by secondary alcohol. They take 5 to 10 minutes to react, whereas primary alcohols are least reactive. Okay, they take usually more than 15 seconds to react. Okay, they take more than 15 seconds to, 15 minutes to react. So this particular reaction, yes, it is used for the preparation of alkyl halides, and this can also be used to distinguish between 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree alcohols. Okay, so 1 degree alcohol gives you alkyl halide and the reaction usually takes more than 15 minutes. 2 degree alcohols also gives you 2 degree alkyl chloride. The reaction takes 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, whereas tertiary alcohols, they react very quickly within 5 minutes. Okay, so this reaction is really important. So we shall be doing this reaction once more in the alcohol chapter. Okay, so what is the order of reactivity of alcohols towards Lucas reagent? What is the order of reactivity? Yes, what is the order of reactivity? Okay, what is the order of reactivity? Obviously towards your Lucas reagent. So which alcohol will be most reactive? Obviously tertiary alcohols. So the order of reactivity is 3 degree alcohols most reactive, followed by 2 degree alcohols, followed by 1 degree alcohols. So in fact 3 degree alcohol does not require anhydrous zinc chloride. It will react even in the absence of anhydrous ZnCl. It is so reactive, 3 degree alcohols. Okay, so this is how using this halogen acid HCl, alcohols can be converted into your alkyl chlorides. Okay, and so here you must know the order of reactivity of alcohols. That's fine. Now let us see. Here we have seen, here we have used which halogen acid? Here we have used HCl. So let us see whether we can use HBr and HI or not. Okay, so let us see whether we can use other halogen acids or not. Let us see. Okay, fine. So alcohols, yes, they react with HBr. They react with HBr. Okay, just like HCl, alcohols react with HBr. So what is the product? Now we should be knowing the product. The product is alkyl bromide plus H2O. Okay, so here again you need to remember some points. Now remember the order of reactivity, the order of reactivity of halogen acids. Which halogen acid is most reactive? Yes, the most reactive is HI, followed by HBr, followed by HCl. This is the order of reactivity of halogen acids, right? Not the other way around. HI is the most reactive. Okay. So why am I saying this? Now, since HBr is a reactive, since HBr is quite reactive, it's quite reactive means it's quite unstable. So since it is quite unstable, again, it must be prepared during the reaction. Okay, HBr cannot be prepared beforehand since it is unstable. So we must prepare HBr as this reaction goes on. We must prepare HBr during the course of the reaction. So how is HBr prepared? HBr is prepared by treating NaBr with Pong H2SO4. Fine. So what do we get? We get HBr plus sodium bisulfate. So don't get confused if in the reaction NaBr and H2SO4 is given. So NaBr and H2SO4 will react to eventually produce HBr. And remember, HBr must be produced during the course of the reaction. So either in the question HBr will be given directly, or if HBr is not given, this will be given. Say for example, say I have CS3, CH2, OH. I have this alcohol. So if I treat this with, say if this is given NaBr and Conc H2SO4. So you need to remember this much now. So NaBr and Conc H2SO4 will produce what? It will produce, yes, HBr. It will produce HBr. These two will react and it will produce HBr. And how does alcohol react with HBr? We know the OH group will now get substituted by Br like this plus H2O. So if directly HBr is given, well and good, not an issue. But instead of HBr, these two reagents might also be given. So here you must remember that NaBr and Conc H2S4 reacts to produce HBr. Okay, so alcohols also react with HBr. Now what about HI? Let us see. Okay, what about HI? Let us see. So yes, alcohols react with HCl, it reacts with HBr. So obviously it should also react with HI. So alcohols ROH, it reacts with hydrogen iodide to give you Ri plus H2O, to give us RiNH2. So here I said HI is the most reactive, HI is the most unstable among these halogen acids. So HI must also be prepared during the reaction. So how is HI prepared? Let us see, okay. So this is quite an important topic. So HI is prepared by treating potassium iodide with H3PO4. So you must remember this. How is HI prepared? By treating potassium iodide with orthophosphoric acid. So what do we get? We get HI. So two hydrogen atoms are left. So we get KH2PO4. Okay, so HI is prepared by treating potassium iodide with H3SO4. So the question which comes out here is, why Conc H2SO4 cannot be used to prepare HI. Okay, so why Conc H2SO4 cannot be used to prepare HI? Let us see whether it can be used or it cannot be used. Okay, so the question says why H2SO4 cannot be used instead of H3PO4. So let us see. Okay, so if potassium iodide is treated with H2SO4, then what is the product? Yes, we are going to get HI. We will get HI. Okay, plus the other product is KHSO4. So one hydrogen and iodine HI, one hydrogen is left, so KHSO4. So we are getting HI. So why are we not using H2SO4? Why are we using this H3PO4? So the reason is, okay, the reason is Conc H2SO4 acts as a strong oxidizing agent. It acts as a strong oxidizing agent, okay, and eventually it oxidizes HI to iodine. So what is the explanation? Yes, even if you use sulfuric acid, HI will be formed, but this sulfuric acid will oxidize this HI to give us molecular iodine, and itself will get reduced to SO2 like this. Okay, so whatever HI will be produced, whatever HI is produced, this will get again oxidized to I2. So that is why Conc H2SO4 cannot be used. So instead of Conc H2SO4, what do we use? We use H3PO4. So just like in the case of HBr, remember in the reaction either directly HI might be given, or instead of HI, Ki and H3PO4 might be given. So what is a halide exchange reaction? alkyl halides, namely alkyl chloride and alkyl bromide, on treatment with sodium iodide. In the presence of acetone, what happens? These are going to get exchanged with iodine. Plus here we get NaCl. Plus here we get NaBr. So this reaction is known as a halide exchange reaction. So which halides are exchanged with iodine? Your chloride and bromide, namely chloride and bromide can be exchanged with your iodine. Now, why is this reaction so important? Okay, what is the use of this reaction? Now let us see. Suppose if you are given this preparation, okay, so it's not linked to this, you do this preparation, convert propene to 2-bromopropane.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, yes.
So what is written in the bracket?
Okay, how are we going to convert propene to 1-bromopropane? So again, let us see, let us draw propene. Let us draw propene out here, CH3CH2. Okay, so we need to convert this to 1-bromopropane, CH3CH2Br. We need to convert this to 1-bromopropane. So here again you will say that, okay, here 1 bromine is getting added, 1 hydrogen is getting added out here. That means HBr is added. Eh? But how is HBr added? Let us examine carefully. Here the positive part and this is the negative part. So here if we see, the negative part is added to this carbon. That means the negative part is added to the carbon containing greater number of hydrogen, and the positive part is added to the carbon containing lesser number of hydrogen. So which rule is followed out here during this transformation? Which rule should be followed? Anti-Marconi-curve. So what am I supposed to write out here? I am supposed to write down peroxide. I am supposed to write down peroxide out here.
Hydrogen peroxide.
Okay, not hydrogen peroxide, any peroxide. Even if you just write on peroxide, that will solve a purpose. Now, just think and try to do this on your own now. So convert propene to 1-iodopropane. Convert propene to 1-iodopropane. Convert propene to 1-iodopropane. So now, how are we supposed to do? Now, in order to convert propene to 1-iodopropane, okay, we have seen that we need to add HI following anti-Marconi-Curve's rule. But HI does not give anti-Marconi-Curve's addition. So first, again, what will I do? I'll add HBr in the presence of peroxide. Okay, I'll add HBr. So what will happen? The negative part will add to the carbon containing more number of hydrogen. So your bromine will be added out here. Now I need to prepare 1-iodopropane. Now by using this reaction, I can easily replace bromine by iodine. First with HBr peroxide, I carried out anti-Marconi-Curve's addition. Then by this Finkelstein reaction, okay, by treating this with what? By treating this with sodium iodide and acetone. Ultimately, what did I do? I replaced the bromine with iodine. I replaced the bromine with iodine. So this type of reactions are very common in your board level. You have to connect the reaction in this way. You have to plan your preparation in this way. So first I need to do anti-Marconi-Curve. So I must use HBr. Second is I know a reaction how to replace bromine with iodine, this halide exchange reaction. So by using two different reactions, I carried out this transformation. Okay, so you have to link the reaction in this way. Okay, one reaction with other reaction. Got it? So yes, this reaction is known as a halide exchange reaction. So not only with iodine, fine. So these chlorine and bromine can also be substituted by fluorine. So what are the reagents? The reagents used are antimony trifluoride like this. Okay, mercurous fluoride, Hg2F2. So we can use this reagents. Right? And the reaction with these reagents is now known as your Swords reaction. It's known as your Swords reaction. SWARTZ or apostrophe S. So what will happen? We get alkyl fluoride. We get here alkyl fluoride like this. So a halide exchange reaction. So here your chlorine and bromine are being exchanged with your fluorine. Okay, fine. Okay, so this finally concludes your preparation of alkyl halides. But yes, we are not over with this. I need to discuss some very important points out here. Okay, I need to discuss some very important points. Okay, now, so write down next allylic bromination. So although it is not discussed in details, but there are some problems in a NCERT as well as in a ISC. Okay, so I will discuss this. So allylic bromination. So topic is known as a allylic bromination. So what is your allylic bromination now? We have studied in the earlier class. What do you mean by an allylic carbon? What is an allylic carbon? Yes, when a sp3 hybridized carbon atom is attached to an sp2 hybridized carbon atom like this. Okay, so this sp3 hybridized carbon atom is known as a allylic carbon. This carbon is known as a allylic carbon. So when these compounds, okay, when these compounds containing allylic carbon are treated with bromine in the presence of heat or UV light. So what are the condition? Bromine, heat or UV light. What will happen out here? Which is the allylic carbon here? So there are two hydrogen out here. So one of the allylic hydrogen will get substituted by bromine. Okay, so the substitution is taking place at the allylic position. So this is known as the allylic bromination. So you just write it down out here. So instead of using bromine, you can use a reagent which is abbreviated as NBSA. So what does NBS stand for? It stands for N-bromosuccinimide. Okay, so it's a reagent. So even if you use this reagent, allylic bromination will occur. So just remember this fact. Okay, it's a fact. So if I have ethyl benzene, so I have ethyl benzene, I am treating this with bromine in the presence of UV light. Okay, so I have ethyl benzene treating with bromine in the presence of UV light. Ethyl benzene with bromine. So bromine, UV light or bromine heat, whatever substitution occurs, allylic. And what is an allylic carbon? Allylic carbon is an sp3 hybridized carbon atom. It is an sp3 hybridized carbon atom attached to an sp2 hybridized carbon atom. So we can say yes, there is an allylic carbon. Okay, or there is a benzylic carbon. So here allylic bromination can also occur or benzylic bromination can also occur. Yeah, benzylic bromination can also occur. So we can say there is a benzylic carbon sp3 attached to a benzene ring. So here this benzylic hydrogen will get substituted. So here we can say one of the benzylic hydrogen will get substituted by bromine like this. Yes. Okay, so allylic bromination or benzylic bromination. Reagent bromine in the presence of heat or bromine in the presence of light. So now let me just write down one question. Okay, let me just write down one question. So I'll draw this compound OH, or I'll just write down out here CH2 OH. Yeah, I'll write down OH. So I'll just write down HCl. I'm not writing anhydrous grade NCl2. Okay, you are supposed to predict the product X. You are supposed to predict the product X. So now we know, yes, what should be the product? The OH must be substituted by Cl. But the question which arises out here is, there are two OH groups. There are two OH groups. So the probability is either both the OH groups will be get substituted, or out of these two, one of the OH group will get substituted. So which one of these two OH groups will get substituted? By chlorine, that is the question now. Now, in order to solve this problem, it's an NCERT based question. In order to solve this problem, yes, now we need to go into details, okay, about a resonance. We need to recapitulate resonance. So what was resonance? Yes, resonance was the delocalization of electrons. Delocalization means movement of electrons, the jumping, the shifting of electrons from one atom to another atom. So here, okay, so I'll just teach you when does resonance occur. So resonance occurs when the lone pair of electron, okay, when the positive charge, or when the negative charge, is a part of conjugated system. And what is a conjugated system? As we told before, it is a system containing alternate single and double bond. So what is this conjugated system? It's a system containing alternate single bond and double bond like this. It's a conjugated system. For example, benzene. It contains alternate single and double bond, so it's a conjugated system. So a conjugated system is one which contains alternate single and double bond like this. Okay. Now listen very carefully. Now concentrate. Say suppose I have this compound, say CH2, double bond CH, single bond OH. Right? Now oxygen, it belongs to group 16. Group 16 means there are 6 electrons in the outermost shell. Out of the 6 electron, it is used, one is used in bonding out here, the other is used out here. So 4 electrons means 2 lone pair. Right? So out of 6 electrons, 2 are used in bonding. So the other 4 remains as lone pair. So if I look at this structure, we see that this lone pair is a part of the conjugated system. It means after lone pair, what do we have? Single bond and double bond. So after lone pair, we have a single double bond. So we say lone pair is a part of conjugated system. And whenever the lone pair is a part of conjugated system, resonance occurs. And in class 11, we've clearly discussed that the lone pair always moves towards the pi electron. What is the direction of movement of lone pair? The lone pair of electron moves towards the pi electron. So this lone pair will come out here. Okay, and these pi electrons will move to this carbon. So the lone pair is the pi electron. So now, what is the resonating structure now? See. So we have CH2, this carbon, okay, 2 extra electrons have come, so it will acquire a negative charge like this. So earlier it was double bond, now it becomes single bond. So we have CH out here. Okay, since these 2 electrons have come out here, a double bond will be formed, and electrons are moving away from oxygen, so it will acquire a positive charge. So this is the resulting structure. Now, what must be taken care of out here? Now what is happening? Due to resonance, the CO bond acquires a double bond character. Okay, so what is happening out here? So here I can say due to resonance, the carbon-oxygen bond acquires, I'll write down partial double bond character. It acquires a partial double bond character. Got it? So whenever due to resonance, okay, I can just predict that due to resonance, yeah, for A electron will jump out, it means a double bond will be created. So what is the big issue then? So as soon as there is a double bond character, what will happen to the bond strength? The bond strength will increase. Okay, the bond strength will increase. Now we know due to resonance, this CO bond has a double bond character. So due to double bond character, do you think this CO bond can be easily broken? No, because double bond has greater bond strength than single bond. So since it cannot be easily broken, this OH cannot be easily substituted. This OH cannot be easily substituted. That's the concept you need to develop. So whenever there's a possibility of resonance, you see whether resonance occurs or not. How will you see? Resonance occurs when these conditions are satisfied, right? And if resonance occurs, if there is a double bond character, then that bond cannot be easily broken. That bond cannot be easily broken. Now let us apply this concept to this particular problem. Let us apply this concept to this particular problem, right? Okay, now, so we have two OH groups. So we have this OH group. Again, it contains two lone pair of electron. This oxygen also contains two lone pair of electron. It contains two lone pair of electron. Now here we see after lone pair, what do we have? Single bond and single bond. So is this lone pair a part of conjugated system? After lone pair, what do we have? Single bond, single bond. So it's not a conjugated system. Conjugated system means a system containing alternate single and double bond. But after lone pair, what do we have? Single bond, single bond. Right? So this is not a conjugated system. So these lone pair will not participate in resonance. This lone pair will not participate in resonance. Okay, so I will just write it down out here. So the lone pair is not involved. The lone pair is not involved in resonance. But what about this lone pair? Let us see. After lone pair, what do we have? Single, then double. Yes, this lone pair is a part of conjugated system. So this lone pair is involved in resonance. So here we see this lone pair is involved in resonance. So if the lone pair is involved in resonance, what is the direction? This lone pair will go out here. Again, a double bond character will be, okay, there will be a double bond character between this carbon and oxygen. So due to resonance, if the lone pair goes out here, यहाँ पर तो double bond create होगा. So due to double bond character, so there is a double bond character out here, CO bond में. So there is no resonance, so no double bond character. Got it? Now you tell me which OH will be substituted by chlorine. Since there is a double bond character out here, this OH cannot, this bond cannot be broken, and this OH cannot be substituted by chlorine. But out here, since there is no resonance, okay, this OH can be easily substituted by chlorine. So what will be the product out here? What will be the product? So the product is going to be CH2Cl. This OH can be substituted by Cl. However, due to resonance, this OH group cannot be substituted by Cl. So this is our product. So this is our product. So the concept of resonance is very, 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 very important. Okay, so resonance, it helps us to predict, okay, which the functional groups are going to get substituted. Okay, so that's why this concept of resonance needs to be understood very clearly. Okay, preparation of aryl halides. Okay, so the topic could be preparation of aryl halides. Preparation of aryl halides. So number one reaction is very important. Okay, from benzene diazonium chloride. So don't worry, we are going to study an entire chapter on this particular compound. Okay, so there's an entire chapter on this benzene diazonium chloride. So for the time being, let us see what is this benzene diazonium chloride and how is it prepared. So I'll right away start the preparation right away from benzene. Okay, starting from benzene. So we have benzene out here. Okay. So some of you must be knowing when benzene is treated with a mixture of conc H2SO4 and conc HNO3, which group is introduced into the benzene ring? Yes, this was there in your class 11. So this reaction is known as a nitration of benzene. It's an example of electrophilic substitution reaction. So when benzene is treated with conc H2SO4 and conc HNO3, okay, so what do we get? Your nitro group is introduced into the benzene ring. So we get nitrobenzene. Okay, when nitrobenzene is reduced with tin HCl, so this tin and HCl, it acts as a reducing agent. It supplies hydrogen atom. So nitrobenzene on reduction, okay, it gives another compound having the formula C6H5NH2, and this particular compound is known as aniline. It's known as aniline. So I have benzene, okay, benzene to nitrobenzene. So this compound is nitrobenzene. Nitrobenzene, then aniline. Now, when aniline is treated with NaNO2, sodium nitrite, HCl, at a temperature of 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. Yes, the temperature must be mentioned in this particular reaction. So when aniline is treated with NaNO2HCl at a temperature of 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, we get a compound having the formula C6H5 N2 positive Cl negative, N2 positive Cl negative. And this compound is known as a benzene. It's known as a benzene diazonium chloride. It's known as a benzene diazonium chloride. Okay. So from where can you prepare benzene diazonium chloride? Right from starting from benzene. So benzene to benzene diazonium chloride, you are going to follow this route, 3 steps. Or starting from nitrobenzene to benzene diazonium chloride, you are going to follow these 2 steps. Or starting from aniline, aniline to benzene diazonium chloride, this is the step. So I'm right away started from benzene out. Okay. Now, what are we studying? We are studying actually the preparation of aryl halides. What is the starting compound? Starting compound is benzene diazonium chloride. How are you going to prepare benzene diazonium chloride? Starting from benzene or starting from nitrobenzene or starting from aniline? I gave you the route. Okay. Now see. When this benzene diazonium chloride, so all these reactions are really important, right? All these reactions are really important. So when benzene diazonium chloride is treated with cuprous chloride and HCl, or when it is treated with cuprous bromide and HBr. Okay, when benzene diazonium chloride is treated with cuprous chloride HCl, cuprous bromide HBr, what will happen? We get chlorobenzene plus nitrogen gas out here, and in the second case we get the diazonium ion is substituted by chlorine and bromine. This. And this reaction is known as a Sandmeyer reaction. It is known as a Sandmeyer reaction. Okay, so benzene diazonium chloride to chlorobenzene, CuCl, HCl is the reagent. Benzene diazonium chloride to bromobenzene, CuHBr, CuBr, HBr is the reagent. And what is the name of the reaction? Sandmeyer reaction. So if you are asked this question, how will you convert benzene to chlorobenzene? So there are other methods as well. Or if you are asked nitrobenzene to chlorobenzene, what will be a route? What will be a route? Yes, nitrobenzene to chlorobenzene. First, you'll convert nitrobenzene to aniline. Aniline to diazonium. Diazonium to chlorobenzene. Or aniline to chlorobenzene, aniline to diazonium, then diazonium to chlorobenzene. Like this. You will follow this route. Okay. Now, a similar reaction, a similar type of reaction can be carried out. A similar type of reaction can be carried out. So when benzene diazonium chloride, now it is treated with just copper and HCl. We are not using CuCl, we are just using Cu and HCl. Or when it is treated with Cu and HBr. So we get the same product. We get chlorobenzene out here plus nitrogen. Fine. We get bromobenzene, again nitrogen out here. Similar reaction, just यहाँ पर CuCl use किया, यहाँ पर metallic copper. So this reaction is known as a Gattermann reaction. It is known as a Gattermann reaction. So one is a Sandmeyer reaction, the other one is a Gattermann reaction. So if the transformation comes, you can use either of these reactions. Okay, you can use either of these reactions. Fine. So one is a Sandmeyer reaction, the other one is a Gattermann reaction. So yes, mostly whatever questions we can expect out here, not only chlorobenzene and bromobenzene, we can prepare iodobenzene as well. Eh? We can prepare iodobenzene as well. So root. Okay, now again starting from benzene diazonium chloride. Okay, starting from benzene diazonium chloride. If I heat this with potassium iodide, if I just heat this with potassium iodide, benzene diazonium chloride, heat with potassium iodide, yes, I'll be getting iodobenzene. I'll be getting iodobenzene. I'll be getting iodobenzene. So, last but not the least, fluorobenzene can also be prepared. So first, benzene diazonium chloride is treated with orthofluoroboric acid. It's known as a fluoroboric acid. We get N2 positive, BF4 negative. This. You need to remember this reaction. If I hit this, this will rearrange itself to give us fluorobenzene plus nitrogen plus BF3. So look here. So starting from benzene diazonium chloride, okay. So we have completed one segment of our last chapter. Right? We have completed one of the reactions, very big reactions of benzene diazonium chloride. So this will again get repeated in the last chapter. Okay, it will again get repeated in the last chapter. So we have already done out here. Fine. So starting from benzene diazonium chloride, here all the aryl halides can be prepared. Chlorobenzene, bromobenzene, via Sandmeyer reaction, via Gattermann reaction. We can also introduce an iodo group by treating with potassium iodide. We can also introduce a fluoro group by treating with HBF4 and subsequent heating.